Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab. If you're new to my channel, I'm Yori and I bring you beauty and makeup related content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so hopefully you will subscribe and join my makeup family. To my existing YouTube friends, welcome back and thank you for continuing to join me. Today's video is going to be another installment of my 5 first impressions and hashtag Throwback Thursday. As you'll hear a little bit later on in the video, I got the inspiration from a look that I saw Samantha Ravndal wearing, and I will link her video in the description box down below so that you can let me know how I did. It got a little harried there for a little while, but I think that it worked out okay. Because her look was very neutral, I wanted to use a neutral palette, and so I chose the epitome of the perfect neutral palette, and I focused on the Tartelette in Bloom palette. So that is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes. I'll show you how I achieved the look. And then I had a couple of new items that I wanted to play with, so I incorporated the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, the Julep Cushion Complexion Concealer, the By Terry Sun Designer Palette. This guy gave me a little bit of trouble, I'm not gonna deny it. Just wait and see. I also had a blush by MAC, which I actually use as a highlight. This is the Robert Lee Morris Peach Blush. And lastly, one of the L'Oreal X Balmain lipsticks in the shade Fever. So as I go through, I will give you all my first impressions on these products. Please remember they are only first impressions, and I do reserve the right to change my mind. So if you're ready for these 5 first impressions and hashtag Throwback Thursday, let's get started. So the inspiration for today's look came from Samantha Ravndal's video. She recently posted a video where she was talking about her top 5 and bottom 5 eyeshadow palettes, and she was wearing the most beautiful orange lipstick. And from my monthly makeup basket, I remember that I had this one by L'Oreal. This is by the Balmain collection, and it's in the shade Fever, and it's a beautiful like terracotta orange, and I think that I could achieve the same look that she was wearing in that video with this lipstick. She didn't have any of the products that she was wearing in the description box. Trust me, I looked because I loved her look so much, but all I know is that she had that bright orange lipstick that was really just the focal point of the look, and she had a very neutral smoky eye. And so for that, I chose the Tartelette in Bloom palette for today's Throwback Thursday palette. I am sure that everyone is very familiar with this palette by now. It has been very, very popular on YouTube. And as you can see inside, this is a perfectly 100% neutral eyeshadow palette. This palette has been really, really well loved. And I think that it'll be perfect to get that neutral smoky eye look and then let the lips be the focal point. So this is where I am so far. I did my eyebrows with the It Cosmetics Brow Power Pencil. I don't like this pencil. I keep forcing myself to use it, but I'm honestly not enjoying it. It's too thick. My eyebrows are freshly done and I don't like this pencil, but I used it. I cleaned up my brows using the Sephora Collection Brow Enhancer, and then I set them with the Hourglass Arch Fiber Gel. And this product is, it's okay. I prefer something to hold my brows down like a little bit tighter because I do have a lot of brow hair, and the fiber effect is kind of lost on me since I do have a lot of hair. And then since it's tinted, as I'm coloring in, I'm kind of coloring outside the sharp part that I already drew. And so also not my favorite so far, but these are products that I wanted to try out for the month, and so that's what I'm doing. I've also primed my eyelids using the Milani eyeshadow base, and I set that using the shade Charmer from the palette, which is this one right here. So let's go ahead and get started on the look. It's going to be a very super simple, easy to follow look because again, the lips are the focal point. I'm taking my Goss 06 brush and I'm going to begin the look with the shade Smarty Pants. I'm going to fake my crease with this shade. I'm actually putting it above my natural crease because I do have hooded eyes, as I've been telling a lot of you in the comments, and so I kind of have to fake the funk with this. The way I do it is I go above my natural crease, and then I also put color a lot higher than someone else with a lot of lid space might, and I find that it gives me the best result for my particular eye shape. You just kind of have to play with it and see what works out best for you. Also, I'm using the brush sort of vertically so that this shade does not go down very, very precise. And when I go in with the next shade, I will then hold the brush more horizontally so I can focus on the crease that I am creating. So the next darker shade that I'm going to take is the shade Jet Setter. I just got done using this shade right here, and now I'm going to use a Jet Setter. It's a little bit darker and also maybe a little more cool tone. So I'm taking the same brush, and like I mentioned, this time I'm going to hold the brush horizontally and I'm going to focus that color just underneath the one that I placed before. Who knows if my look is going to turn out like Sam's, but it was really beautiful and that is where the inspiration came from, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Now another way that I like to use this brush is to pat on color. So I'm going to take that same Jet Setter shade, and this time I'm going to put it on one side of my brush and I'm going to lay it down on the outer third of my eye. For this part, I'm using more patting motions rather than blending motions. Once that's complete, I'm just going to take a very fluffy blending brush, even though it's a little bit small. This is the Zoeva 224, and I'm just going to make sure to blend out any harsh lines where the two shades meet. So I had a little bit of a harsh line here in the inner third, so I just go over that to move the product and blend it together without adding any additional product. Now I'm going to work on my lid, and I'm going to take the shade Rocker, that's this shade right here in the palette, and I am going to pat that all over the inner third. It's a very neutral shimmery shade, and I am using an LH305 for this. I'm going in with the shadow dry first, but then if it's not that metallic, I may go in with a damp brush. So this shade does not have as much payoff as I want, so I am going to dampen my brush. And to do that, I'm going to use my Inglot setting spray. I do want to deepen the outer V just a little bit, so I'm going to take a MAC 219 and I'm going to use the shade Activist, which is this deep brown right here in the palette. And I'm just focusing that on the outer V of my eye, working it slightly upward into my created crease, but I'm keeping it on the outside. I'm using mostly patting motions to get the color where I want it, and then I will go in with a blending brush to blend that out. So now you can see I've placed the color down, so I'm going to take the Zoeva 224 and I'm just going to blend out the edges. I do want to highlight my brow bone, so I'm going to take a little bit more of the Charmer shade and I'm going to use that as a brow bone highlight as well as an inner corner highlight. Now, as far as I could tell, she didn't really have any liner except for along the lash line. So I'm going to go ahead and use the shade Activist, and I'm going to use a Luxie 221T brush. This is just a flat definer brush, and I'm going to push the shade Activist all along my upper lash line. So that's the eye look so far. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side and I will be right back. Alright, so I replicated the look on my other eye, and now I'm going to go into my MAC Prep and Prime Lash Primer, and I'm going to try and not have to use false lashes today. And for my mascara, I'll use the Benefit Roller Lash. We'll get back to the eyes in a little bit, but now let's try some of these other new goodies. The first thing I want to try is this one by Smashbox. This is the Photo Finish Primerizer. This thing has been in everyone's favorites. Just look at all those claims. We'll see how it goes. I've been super curious about this because everybody has been using it, but I'm a dry skin type as well, and this is supposed to be a primer and a moisturizer, so we will see. And it's supposed to make makeup last a little bit longer. Here's what the packaging looks like. It comes in a beautiful glass bottle, and it does have a pump. I hesitated purchasing this because I think it cost like $42, and Ulta had like a platinum perk where you could get it half off, and I thought that would be a great time to try it. So we're supposed to apply 1 to 2 pumps to fingertips and smooth over face before makeup. It's quite runny. It does feel hydrating though. My skin just drinks it all up like it does anything else. It feels good. It does feel hydrating, although I can't say that I would purposely leave off moisturizer to use this, but we'll see as time goes on. I didn't wear moisturizer today because I knew I was going to be trying it, and my skin is kind of missing it. So I'm going to go in with the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation today, and I will contour with the Fenty Matchstick in the shade Mocha. I'm going with a more hydrating foundation again because I didn't put moisturizer on, and I don't know if my skin could take something more full coverage or matte right now. Alright, so we'll call the complexion done for now. The next thing I'm going to try is by Julep. This is actually the very first thing I try from this brand. It is the Cushion Complexion 5-in-1 Skin Perfector with Turmeric, and it's supposed to be a brightening concealer. Here's what your packaging looks like. This is something that Ulta was giving away free with purchase. I got mine in the shade 220 Sand, which looks a little bit deep, but we'll see. It should be okay. It has a little window in the packaging, and it's all metallic packaging, and ooh, it's a little felt tip applicator, so we'll see how this goes. What are the claims on this thing? It's a natural demi matte finish, long-term brightening. Let's see. These clicky things always take forever to come out. Oh, there it goes. Ooh, this might be a little tan. It's very yellow. It looks super warm toned, doesn't it? I think I'm gonna be able to make it work, but I really think I should have gotten a lighter shade, especially because I really like a bright under eye since I have such dark circles. It sets very, very quickly, and this is not matching very much with my more neutral toned foundation. I'm going to try to use a brightening powder to lighten it up just a little bit. I'm trying to blend out the other side with a sponge to see if the effect is any different. I think I like the blend better with the sponge. I don't know, guys, what do you think? It's not as perfect of an under eye as I'm able to achieve using some of my favorite products. It's not bad, but I find it a little bit drying. I'm just going to go back in with a brush to get right underneath my eyes right before I set. This is the Stila number 33 brush that I just featured in my 5 and 5. I really have been liking this for concealer a lot. It's pretty much set, but I do want to brighten it, so I'm going to use a little bit of this Wet n Wild powder from my contour palette. Alright, well, let's go ahead and finish the eyes. My under eye is looking really dry. They've looked better. I'm going to take my Surratt Beauty brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Smarty Pants, and I'm just going to smoke that all along the lower lash line. Smarty Pants is this shade right here. I'm bringing the color down pretty far to sort of disguise from all the under eye wrinkles I have going on right now. And then I sort of just outline the existing color. With the same flat definer I used before, I'm going to stamp Activist along my lower lash line. And I'm going to focus that on the outer half. Once I have that set down, I'm going to take the Surratt brush and just blend. And to brighten the inner rim, I'm going to use the ColourPop cream gel liner. This one is in the shade Honey Dude, and it's just a nude shade. And finish it off with a little bit of my lower lash mascara. When I did my monthly makeup bag, I realized that I did not take out a bronzer, and so I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to try the By Terry Sun Designer palette. This palette was in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, and it is in the shade number 4, which is Savannah Love. Here's what the outer packaging looks like. It's just beautiful. And here's your palette. It's almost too beautiful to use. Almost. Alright, so I have never had one of these palettes before, and I was advised to just blend all the shades together. So I'm going to use this Wet n Wild powder brush, and I'm going to go ahead and blend all of those shades together to create a bronzer. I always worry about products that you have to swirl together, because why aren't they then in like just one big pan? I'm trying to grab a little bit more from the bottom so I can get some of that darker shade, but it just sort of all mixes together. My camera cut me off while I was applying the bronzer, and I don't know, guys, this Sun Designer palette has made me look a little sunburned. I'm going to go in with a little bit of this Maybelline Fit Me powder with a powder brush to just sort of tone down the redness a little bit. I'm pretty sure I saw my friend Mo post a video about this product. I think I need to revisit that video and study up on how to use this. I mean, it did bronze, and it bronzed nicely, but it's a little more red than I'm used to. And it's funny because it didn't make my brush red. It's dirty, but it looks very neutral. I do want to go ahead and use the blush, so I'm just going to swirl them all together. I think this one is kind of a highlight. It's like a shimmery neutral blush, I guess. I'm just going to swirl them together and see what I get. I'm using my Goss airbrush for this. It definitely is a luminous blush. It's kind of hard to avoid the highlight shade in the middle, so you can see my cheek looks a little greasy right now. Let me see if I can get a little bit of the rose in the bottom. If I looked red before. Okay, I'm just using a little bit more of that powder to tone this down. I'm gonna have to use a whole lot of setting spray. I think it looks a little bit more doable now. I'm just gonna put this thing away back in its little velvet pouch and study some YouTube videos about how to use this better. Before we get into the lipstick, let's go ahead and try the very last item. This one is by MAC, and it is one of the Robert Lee Morris collaboration products. This is in the shade Peach, and I saw this on Raw Beauty Christie's yearly favorites. It's such an interesting package. It's like a little spaceship. Poor thing, I saw her video today where she's not doing too well. She suffers from cluster headaches. It sounds horrible. Hopefully she gets better soon. In any case, she did share this on her yearly favorites. And again, the packaging is just very steampunk. This is labeled a powder blush in the shade Peach, but she called it a highlighter. And so that's how I'm going to be using it today. Really interesting packaging with this like folding flap. I'm not sure if this is still gonna be available, but as soon as I saw it pop up on her favorites, and I did see her use it in a video as well, I knew I had to have it. So I'm going to apply it with my Anastasia A23 brush. She's much more fair than I am, and it was definitely a highlight on her, so I'm thinking it's going to do the same on me. Oh, it definitely is. It's kind of hard to establish a first impression with this, seeing as how I have so much powder on my face right now. It's a very lovely highlight though, as far as intensity. Yeah, this is definitely a highlight. I'm not sure why they labeled it a blush. Alright, if I hadn't been looking forward to this lipstick so much, I probably would have abandoned mission as soon as I put on that bronzer, but I really want to see how this is gonna look. So this is the L'Oreal Balmain lipstick, and I have to say the first thing that disappointed me about this was the packaging. It's pretty enough for a drugstore product, but this lipstick was $14, and If you're gonna charge $14 for a drugstore lipstick, then put it in a box or something. It just had a sticker on the side to seal it, and that's pretty much it. It's just your typical L'Oreal packaging, and this one is from the green line and it's in the shade Fever. I don't have a lip liner to perfectly match that, so I'm gonna go with something that's sort of the shade of my lips. So I'm using this Wet n Wild liner, and it's in the shade Bear to Comment. But let's go ahead and put this on. On Sam, it was a little bit glossy. Well, I'm not sure this is what she was wearing, but her orange lipstick was a little bit more glossy. So if this is too matte, then I'll just go over it with a gloss. Everybody says L'Oreal lipsticks smell bad. Well, it doesn't smell good. I don't know, it just smells like makeup to me. I was gonna say it looks a little brighter orange on me than it does in the tube, but nope, it looks the same. That's everything for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the look I created and hearing my first impressions as I applied these different products. Just to give you a quick rundown as I applied everything, the first thing I applied was the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, and because I am a dry skin type, this is a very good primer for me, although I can't say that it will be replacing the moisturizing step in my skincare routine at all, at least not from what I saw today, but I will definitely keep trying it and see how it goes. The next product that I tried was the Julep Cushion Complexion Concealer, and as you saw in the video, the tone was a little bit warm for the brightening effect that I usually enjoy on my under eye, and then I did find that it was a little bit drying as well. I also found it isn't going to replace any of my favorite concealers anytime soon, but it was interesting to try it. This is my very first product from Julep, and so I was curious to try it out, and I'm glad I got it for free from Ulta Beauty, so I got the opportunity to do so and share my thoughts. The other product was the By Terry palette. You saw me struggle with this one. I think it's just a lack of understanding of the product right now. I'm not its biggest fan, but I have to say that after looking at my makeup in natural lighting, it doesn't look as bad as it did on camera. It's not as red, and it actually gives me a very natural sort of natural sun-kissed look. You can see I'm looking very bronzy, and it is really due to this palette. And it's funny because this is the one that's supposed to be good for lighter skin tones, and so it's very pigmented. I definitely need to use a lighter hand next time. I'm going to watch a couple of videos and see how some of my fellow YouTubers use this product, and maybe I'll enjoy it more in the future. I did like the blush a little bit more than I enjoyed the bronzer, but I also went in with a very heavy hand with that one, so just a little bit of a learning curve with this one. And so at this moment, it isn't my favorite, but I'm determined to learn how to use it and make it work for me. Any tips that you have would be greatly appreciated. Next is the highlighter, which is really marketed as a blush, but Raw Beauty Christy was definitely right in that this is definitely a highlighter. I'm glad that I saw her review before I tried it for myself, because I would have seen it labeled blush and I may have used it as blush. I probably actually wouldn't have even bought it because it's super light. You see that? Like, to see this marketed as a blush, I probably would have just ignored it, but I'm glad that she described it as a really good highlighter, and I'll have to agree, so far my first impression is very positive. But as you saw in the video, I already had quite a bit of powder going on my skin, so I see a tiny little bit of texture. And again, I'm not wearing moisturizer. I put a lot of powders on, and so I'm not surprised that I'm seeing just a little bit of texture on my skin, and I'm not really fully attributing it to this because I could already see that already. So I'm thinking that this is actually going to be a winner out of these 5 first impressions, and so far I'm really impressed. The last one is the lipstick, and I already commented about the price. I think that it's a little bit pricey at $14 for a drugstore lipstick, especially when they didn't really go to any great lengths to change the packaging aside from the green lacquer finish, I guess. I like it. I think that it goes on a little bit waxy, as most L'Oreal lipsticks do, and the smell doesn't really bother me, but I know that it bothers some people, and I really like the shade. If you look at Samantha's video, it's really, really close to this shade. It's just a beautiful orangey nude, and I'm really happy with the shade. It's the shade Fever, and I think that it was one of the most popular when it was first launched. I know I pre-ordered mine from Barney's because I didn't want to miss out when I saw the swatch of this shade. I'm quite a big fan of orange, and so I really like this. I also saw this lipstick on Laura's Makeup Loves. She has a YouTube channel as well and looked beautiful on her, and I really like this. So I would have have to say, out of everything that I tried, the highlighter and the lipstick were my two favorites so far. But again, I reserve the right to change my mind. Let me know what you thought of the look that I created, if I came anywhere close to my inspiration. And if not, then at least hopefully you enjoyed seeing me try out all these new products. If you enjoy this kind of video, please give me a thumbs up so that I know and I continue bringing these for you. I really enjoyed making the video for you, and as you can see, I had a little bit of fun trying out some of my new products. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon on my next video. Bye-bye!